All right, here we are. This is Fbow number 1. Feels good to be back in the saddle again, doesn't it? Okay, so D minor. Here's our bass line. These are all root position triads, except for right there. That is the cadential 6/4. So I am going to get the Roman numerals here. And do you remember a cadential 6/4? If you think of this chord, A, D, F, it looks like it would be a D chord, which would be a 1, and you will be tempted to call this a 1/6/4, but it's not. This chord is embellishing the next chord. So think of this as the 5 chord, which has a 5 and a 3, and we're just approaching the 5 with an upper neighbor. We're approaching the sharp 3 with an upper neighbor. When I do the part writing, you will see how it works, even though you probably know anyway. A couple things I want to comment here before I start, particularly this chord and this chord. Of course, with this chromatic alteration here, this means the third above the bass, C, is raised a half step, giving us C sharp, which is the leading tone to D. So this chord is the 5 chord from harmonic minor. Here, rather than the C sharp, we have the C natural. I'm just putting it there as a courtesy accidental. This is the 7 chord on the lowered 7th scale degree from natural minor. Now remember, this chord most commonly occurs within the context of the circle of fifths, the diatonic circle of fifths paradigm, 1, 4, 7, 3, 6, 2, 5, 1, or a portion of that. For example, 7, 3, 6, 2, 5, and then something else. So if we want to relate this to what we talked about with the chord progression paradigms, we could say that right here from 7, 3, 6, 2, 5, that is circle of fifths, diatonic circle of fifths motion. Here we could say this is predominant, dominant, tonic is the 1 chord. So this is the functional model right here. So everything in this example can be explained through the 2 models we talked about in class last time. Okay. And then here, of course, 5 to 6. So just think you're going along 1, 4, 7, 3, 6, 2, and you get to 5. You are implying that you're going to go to 1, but that implication is not realized, and instead, in this context, we go to 6. And that allows us to not go to 1 and have some more music before we get to 1. Okay? So let's part write this. So we want 2 roots, a third and a fifth. Root, third, fifth. Now here, these are root position triads. The bass moves by step. So the upper voices should move contrary motion to the bass in order to avoid parallel fifths and parallel octaves. So we're going to see E, G chord. So this is going to go to E. This will go to G, and this will go up to C. This upper voice here doesn't look super smooth, I guess. There's a step and there's a leap, but this is the smoothest possible voice leading because the other ones are not possible in this style. They have parallel fifths and octaves. Now we have circle of fifths motion. Circle of fifths always has a common tone, and the other two voices can move by step, but you don't have to remember that. You just go as smoothly as possible. So here we need F, A, C. So there's an F. We got the C as a common tone, and the A there. Now we're going to B flat. Here's our common tone, F. And we need another B flat. These sopranos are going pretty far up there, right? Stratosphere. Okay, so there is our sixth chord. Now we're going to go to two diminished, E, G, B flat. According to what you've been told so far, you should double the root of this chord. And that is an example of keeping the theory simple to cover the most possible cases. In fact, usually in a two diminished chord, the third will be doubled. And the reason is the two diminished in this case is E, G, B flat. The interval from E to B flat is a diminished fifth, which we hear as dissonant, and generally that a dissonant interval wants to resolve, and we wouldn't want to double a pitch that needs to resolve in a specific way. Or we would have the same problem like when we double the leading tone in a 5 chord. So it would be better voice leading, if it would be better stylistically if this chord had a third doubled. However, let's just file that away for later, and we'll pick up that subtlety later. So we have E, G, B flat up here, E here, and G here. Wow, this is getting really high. Okay. And now we've got the 5 chord. We need A, C sharp, E. So A definitely up here. C sharp here. And E here. This doesn't look as smooth as you might suspect, but there's a reason for this. If this were natural minor, we wouldn't have a C sharp. We would have a C natural. Sorry about that. And to move from B flat to C by step is fine, and that would cause the rest of the voice leading to be extremely smooth. However, B flat cannot go to C sharp. That would be a melodic augmented second. So in this case, the B flat has to resolve down to A. And here now, if we have the A doubled, these voices have to leap down to give us the proper pitches. So this is pretty disjunct right here. But it's the way it is. Deal with it. Okay. Now we're on the 5 chord, A, C sharp, E. And we are resolving deceptively to the 6th chord. So there's a subtlety here you want to be aware of. The bass is moving by step, which means we want to have the upper voices move contrary motion to the bass to avoid parallel fifths and parallel octaves. So E goes down to D. A is going to come down to F. However, the root of this chord is B flat. If this alto goes to B flat, we have a melodic augmented second, which is problematic. If you don't believe it's problematic, try singing this melody right here, and especially the part that goes E, C sharp, B flat. Okay, it's going to be very difficult. We also want to resolve this leading tone up to D. So do you remember that when we move from 5 to 6, the 6th chord has a doubled third? Okay, that's an exception to the general principle that the root is doubled in root position chords. And now things are going to be a little simpler for a couple chords till we get to the end. We got the 4 chord. There's common tone, G, D, B flat, G. Now we're going to the cadential 6/4. Remember, this, if we have it analyzed this way, this is not a 5/6/4 chord. Okay? Let's just refresh this. If we're in the key of D minor, the 5 chord would be A, C sharp, E. That's the 5 chord. A 5/6/4 would have the 5th in the bass. So it would be E, A, C sharp. This is not a 5/6/4. This is a cadential 6/4, and the difference is shown in the notation. Here, this is 5/6/4. It doesn't have these dashes. Here we have the dashes showing that, in a sense, 5 is sustaining while 6 moves to 5 and 4 moves to 3. This means a 6th above the bass moves to the 5th above the bass. 4th above the bass moves to a 3rd of the bass. If you don't overthink it, this actually tells you exactly what to write. Okay, so if we're on A, what is a 6th above A? It's F, right? And the closest one is here. Here's our 6th above the bass. We know the 6 is going to go to 5. It tells you to write 6 going to 5. We also need a 4th above the bass, which is the D. And the D is going to go to the sharp 3rd, aka the leading tone. Okay, so this 4 goes to the sharp 3, and then here this B flat goes to the A. And do you remember in 6/4 chords, we double the 5th of the chord, we double the bass. And the reason is because if you doubled the D, you'd have parallel octaves moving to C sharp. If you doubled the F, you'd have parallel octaves moving to E. So now we're on our final 5 chord. Going to resolve the leading tone. We've got our common tone, and we could move stepwise up to F. And there we go. That is the walkthrough, figured bass of the week number 1. I will scan this document and put it up as well. All right, thanks everybody. Happy Friday night or weekend or whenever you're doing this. Later.